literacy is important, collaboration is important. We say, right? I mean, who are we? The question is, of course, what benefits do organizations get out of this? And organizations being leaders, being the value chain, being share price, revenue, sales volume, whatever it happens to be. What benefits are we seeing out there for a company with good data culture? Mike, you mentioned this earlier, that there are companies that have this good data culture and they're getting ahead. And partly, I think, of course, companies that handle their data well are going to be better positioned to handle AI more effectively or to use it more effectively. Doesn't mean that that's automatically what will happen, but it's kind of a success factor. It's kind of a thing that you can have in your back pocket or a thing that you can have in your value chain. What do you both think about, the benefits? Why would we do data literacy well? Taryn, do you want to go?
Yeah, I can go first. I have some thoughts on this, of course. So outside of helping you attain the goals that you want to attain, because ultimately that's the point, right? Whether it's driving efficiencies or, it could be as simple as reducing a number of ServiceNow tickets. Something like that that's going to have a direct cost on savings, whether it's savings time, and then that time can then be used towards more valuable tasks that someone in IT could do, things like that. So obviously helping support drive goals is the quick answer, the easy answer. But truly, the one that I can't measure right now that I want to continue to look at personally myself into the future to see how things are going, especially when I think of the changing landscape. And I'll do a little sidebar and then go to the point that I'm getting at. Right now, we're all learning how to use AI still. We're going to continue to do that. As we're doing it, there's companies being born right now as AI natives. They're native. So back when the internet was a big deal and there was that huge boom of organizations that came out web-based and all of these things. Look at Amazon now, right? There's going to be organizations that are going to be able to take advantage of AI because they're natives in a way that is different than companies that have been around for a really, really long time. So where I'm going to is I can't measure it right now. But the organizations that aren't focusing on increasing data literacy and AI literacy and some degree digital literacy, if they're behind in that, are going to fall behind. There's going to be ramifications that they're going to feel in the future and near future for some of them if they don't start doing this. So yes, ultimately, it's going to help you accomplish your goals. If you're doing it in a way that you're working really closely with your HCM colleagues, you're aligning tasks, you're mapping out all of this stuff to drive your goals. But if you're not looking at it, if you choose, this isn't for me, I can't guarantee anything, I don't have a mirror ball, but it is likely that you're going to feel some pain points moving forward in the fact that you haven't looked at it and you don't have a plan in place and you're going to be scrambling to catch up because somebody else in the market has come up with something that is either more efficient or they can do it at a faster cost or something or better to some extent because of AI and they've been able to focus on it. So sure, there's some measurable things, but there's also some things we can't measure right now, but we know if I had a mirror ball, right, that's a prediction I would make. So that if you're not looking at it, you're going to have some negative collateral that could be coming your way.
Yes, you said a lot. So there's so many things I could address here, but I do want to go back to data cultures. How do you know if you have a good data culture? Especially with AI. I would say if most of your people, being 90-95%, have an AI license that you're paying for as a company, you probably have the start or the beginning of a good data culture. Brandon Hall Group, everybody here has an AI license, except for some reason my finance guy, but that's okay because I can use AI to, get into the analysis of all the financial spreadsheets that I get sent every week. So I think that's important. Number one is, how is your data culture? Everybody should at least be experimenting with it. Yes, there's privacy concerns. I get it. Don't put anything in there confidential, obviously, if you're an employee that might one day be, shown or tapped into or hacked into, I should say. So I think data culture, first of all, get that right. Then you have to think about change management as well, too. Is like, how is this going to change your job in customer service? How is it going to change the sales rep's job, right? I've just started, believe it or not, I've been using a variety of AI tools, but now I'm using a Microsoft Copilot because I finally got it to work on my Mac properly. And it's wonderful to be able to write an email that's, really concise and professional. So for companies have problems, for example, with Salesforce being so inconsistent. They, say things a different way. it's a big problem. I think AI can certainly help with the quality of communications, whether you're in customer service or sales or whatever. I think that's really important. Writing clean, crisp emails, for example, being able to do research on an organization. I think the ROI, and we do it now. We have our sales folks, prompt properly. We're talking to the CHRO, this global organization. This is what they're doing. This is the annual report the CEO wrote. What opportunities would there be for Brand Hall Group? And it gives it to us perfectly, and it helps us to enable higher level conversations, which leads to a second meeting, a third meeting, a fourth meeting. And, maybe after 18 times, finally you get a contract, right? As you learn more about the organization. Making everything quicker and speeding us up. It's really making us massively productive if we do it the right way. So I do think there's our tremendous amount of ROI with it. I'm seeing what we're doing here as a company, and I'm definitely seeing ROI in the different ways that we're using it.
On that point, so, and I'll come to another point in a second that Taryn has mentioned, but on that specific point, ROI can mean a wide variety of things. Either you're doing the same things, but you're getting there quicker, so your cost base drops, or you're producing more output, or some combination of these things. For you, Mike, as a leader of business, is there a priority between the two at the moment, or is it still experimental and you're waiting to kind of decide what the priority is depending on what the technology can do?
It's a good question. In terms of, for us, it's always prioritizing relationships and, in sales. It's about creating some automations, going through things. As a company that's pretty well known, we get a tremendous amount of leads every single day. Just during this call, we've already had 29 leads come in from people downloading a white paper, which doesn't mean it's a lead, but somebody who's there's a reason for them looking at research, or there's a reason for them looking for, a brochure or what have you. So for us, it's really sales and client service. That is one of our top priorities. Research, yes, absolutely. We're driving a lot of our research now based on what our membership clients want. So they're kind of leveraging and tapping into Brand Hall Group as their own personal research department, and they can get anything they want based on their industry. They want something on upskilling as it relates to this particular industry. We can get that done fairly quickly. And what's unique is we have all this data and research, which you alluded to before, Ashwin, which we can use and leverage AI, but with that content that we have that nobody else on the planet has. It's almost like our own miniature large language model.
I read a book once, one of the books on my shelf, that's a fiction book. And it was one of these sort of dystopian, you don't know when it is. Like Lord of the Rings, right? You don't really know when it's set. And this was one of these stories that this guy was going on he was searching for the data of his ancestors, the kind of the story, the books that were written, the library that would have all the answers, all the key to civilization success and all of this. And so he got there, he flew on the back of an albatross or whatever it was, right? And he crossed the river and all of this stuff. And he got there, and it was a box of CDs. And the box of CDs, you've got this guy who's come on horseback. It's this kind of Lord of the Rings style thing. And he's like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. And all of the information that was catalogued, all of the data that was catalogued by the entirety of humanity was somehow in this thing, and he didn't even recognize it. And that just blew my mind. It's like, yes, legacy data systems and legacy formats and all of this stuff is something we also have to cope with along the way, right? But the point that, Taryn, you made a point, and it reminded me of Mike and I